Okay, so our last illustration we'll see today is the one that we just read, where this time we're given a cash book, right? And we're given information on assets and liabilities on particular dates. Okay, so let's go through and see. So let me create a space for our statement of affairs. So the name of this business, I think, is Can Promise. Okay, let me move it to one page.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we now have the full question here. Great. So Can Promise. So let me write the name of the business in the books of Can Promise. We are to prepare the statement of affairs as at 1st April 2004. Okay, and that happens to be the opening date. Okay. The currency is Ghana cedi. So GH, let me use S for the cedi. GHS. Okay. So like we know, the norm is you list your assets and then you list your liabilities. So dear professors, there is a question on the screen. What assets do you see in this particular question? So right from the top, okay, if you see any asset, please let me know. Or better, so let me call you. If you are not going to put up your hands willingly, let me call Prophet Chia. Prophet Chia, what assets do you see on 1st April 2004?
Stock.
Thank you very much. Stock is one of them. And that is 5,600. Okay. Prof. Amma.
Please, rent prepaid.
Rent prepaid. Okay, so that's true. Rent prepaid. So that is also 440. So you see, we are picking only the figures for 1st April. Okay, don't skip to this point because the date for these assets are different from the date on which we are preparing the statement of affairs. Any other assets on that date? Who should I call? Prof. Ifia?
His debtors.
Okay, so we also have the debtors. Can you add the value as well?
$12,020.
Okay, is that all the assets we have in the question, professors? Okay, I'm going to ask each and every one of you on this one. Have we exhausted all the assets, or you think there's some asset in there? If yeah, yes or no? I want a simple yes or no. Yes means there are some assets that we still need to fish out. No means there are no other assets. These are the only assets we have.
No.
No, we don't have any other assets. Okay, Prof. Amma?
No.
Prof. Bridget?
No.
Prof. Jacinda?
No, please.
Prof. Echan? Oh my. Oh, you are not sure.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Okay, Prof. Natasha.
No.
Wow, it's awesome that my future accountants and auditors cannot determine that we have a hidden asset in it. For that matter, look at something here. I prompted your attention, but I don't know, maybe it escaped you guys. The opening balance in the cash book, what is that? That represents your balance on your cash or bank at the beginning of the period. And the beginning of the period is 1st April 2004. So actually, that balance there is your cash or bank at 1st April 2004. So that's the hidden asset I was talking about. And when the question is given to you this way, please pay attention to that opening balance, because it's always, you know, students most of the time skip that and they don't add it to their asset. Okay, so that represents your cash and bank on 1st April 2004. I hope you all agree with me on that.
Yes, please.
Great. So when you are given the cash book, make sure to note that as your opening balance. So the balance carried down, that will be the cash and bank at the closing date. So in case you are asked to prepare the statement of affairs at the closing date, consider these two figures in your cash book. Now, the other items, cash paid to creditors, is not an asset or is not a liability. Salaries is an expense, postage expense, general expense, drawings, rent. Okay, then you have additional capital. It will form part of the capital. This cash paid to creditors will go into our creditors account. Okay, so none of them here falls under the category of an asset or a liability, except for the opening balance of cash, which is the cash and bank at the opening day. Please note, there are some questions they will put in some assets in the cash book, but they would have to define the date on which that asset was bought for you to consider. Okay, so these are total assets for King Promise. So total assets. And please, calculator expect. I think you do that while we less liabilities. So I think Prof. Bridget and Prof. Natasha would assist us in getting the liabilities. Okay. So who would go first? Okay, B comes before N. So Prof. Bridget, what liability do you see in the question on that date, 1st April 2004?
Creditors.
Thank you very much, creditors. As simple as that. Prof. Natasha, do you see any other liability, or that is the end of the story for liabilities?
That's all the liability.
Thank you. This time is perfect and it's on point. There is no other liability. So since it's just the creditors, we less it from the total assets, and that's 9,800. So dear professors, let's calculate to get the capital as at 1st April 2004. Okay. So what total did we get here for the assets?
$41,490.
Okay. So we less that, or we less the creditors from that figure, and what will be our capital?
31,690.
31,690, and that is your statement of affairs. Professors, some of these things come to the exams for you to score like I think a tick will be like 1 mark. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 easy marks to get. Okay. Now, the series of illustrations we have gone through represents the style of questioning that is used under this topic. So most of the time, either they give you the cash book like this with balances, and this style is highly examinable. They tend to love this style, or better still, they give you the information like we saw in the illustration 1 and illustration 2. Okay, so that is for your statement of affairs. So God willing, next week we'll move on to preparing the creditors account, the debtors account, the expense account, and the income account. Okay, but for this time, we just want to focus on the statement of affairs. Dear professors, I don't want to bore you much with plenty talk. So I guess the next illustration would be flying on your page for you to prepare and submit for me to mark and give you feedback on how well you performed. There's another one here, another illustration here, but I think my professors can do justice to it when it comes to preparing the statement of affairs. So pay attention to the date. That is very, very important. And you can also use the principle of opening date, closing date, so that if something is on the opening date and it's an asset or a liability, you can easily grasp it into your statement of affairs. Question time, professors. Question on statement of affairs. Okay, I think it has always been the norm that I share questions on the page and then you answer for me. Okay, so why don't we use the remaining time for all of you to go through this question I have on the screen and prepare the statement of affairs for me in the next 10 minutes. So this is the question. I think it's similar to what we just saw. So please grasp your pen and your exercise book or sheet of papers and start work for me. You are preparing the statement of affairs for 1st January 2015. So let me see if that is the case here. Okay. So let me add it. So you have to prepare the statement of affairs. Let me make it bigger since it is the only page. Somebody is chatting. Okay, nobody is chatting me in the page. Okay, so let me make it bigger for you. So please take your pens, your exercise book. So the following is the summary of the cash book of CC for the year ended 31st December 2015. So that's the cash book and additional information in there, please. You are supposed to prepare the statement of affairs as at 1st January 2015. Please start work. Within 10 minutes, you should finish this for me. Able professors. Okay. So I'll be monitoring you as you do it. I wish you could share your videos so that I see what each and every one of you is doing. So when you are done, you take a snapshot and forward it to your private page. For those of us who haven't created the private page is where you submit your assignment. I mark them and give them back to you. So you add myself and any of your parents or both of them if they want to. Okay, you are the sole administrator of that page. Please add your parent. We have had scenarios where somebody added his friend instead of the parent. Okay, so please, this is the question for you. 10 minutes, start work.